So my name is Anthony Kiplimo. Um, I work at Africa Stalking as developer relations, just helping out make sure developers actually have a really good time building African solutions. At Africa Stalking, our business is the business of APIs. So we focus on providing communication APIs across the continent in 18 markets with over 35 telcos on our side. Our services include SMS APIs, USSD APIs, voice APIs, airtime and data APIs, as well as IoT. The IoT is our fast hardware product combined with its APIs. So we are quite happy that we get to talk about at least SMS today, but I wish we could cover all the different APIs that we have. So for this talk, it would be really good to sign up for Africa Stalking. Just head to africastalking.com, click sign up, and you should end up here. Okay, next thing, Firestore. So I'm going to be using Firestore today. It's a Google event, and we need to talk about some of the cooler products that are out there that Google has, which is Firestore. So Firestore essentially provides a NoSQL DB, so you don't have to worry about managing all these relationships and stuff. It's really good for kind of like dumping data sometimes. It also has a really powerful querying system, which I really like. Reminds me a lot of MongoDB in some ways. And then the APIs are amazing, and they support basically every single language a modern developer would be using. And also its speed and availability is something to take note of. If you don't have a Firebase account, just head to firebase.google.com and you should have them. If you get a chance to have these slides, these are just live links. Click them and it's gonna open. So today I'm gonna show you how to build an SMS app. Essentially, I'm gonna be using these five rather. Python 3.8, Flask, the Africa Stalking Messaging API, the Firestore API, and UIKit for my UI. So let's jump right into the demo. I don't think we have too much time, but we can spend time kind of thinking of, kind of like looking through the app itself. Awesome. So the first thing I'll kind of like bring to your attention is this little script called SMS, send SMS.py. Now this kind of strips away everything, all the Flask stuff, and just allows you to focus on what it takes to actually send a message on Africa Stalking. So all you have to do is run pip install Africa Stalking, set up your username, which is normally Sandbox. So our Sandbox environment allows you to essentially send messages and test out our services without having to actually incur any costs, right? I'll show you how to get your API key very shortly. And once you have your API key, you can essentially initialize the Africa Stalking service, pass in the variables. Next thing you'll do is create a SMS variable and then call the SMS method on the Africa Stalking module, right? Then it's pretty good practice to use a try catch statement just to make sure if anything goes wrong, you actually see what happened. So we create a response variable, sms.send. The first parameter is the message you're sending, and then you create an array with the numbers that you want to send the message to. And then you can print out the response. But what we're gonna do in this case is we're gonna save the response to Firestore. In case something goes wrong, we have a little print that's gonna help us find that out. So in this app itself, it's very bare bones. So I'm using a single file kind of app. I have my app.py file, and I have my templates. So my templates are all written using Jinja 2. So it's quite simplistic in how it kind of works. I have my base.html, which essentially provides all the base, the style sheets and the base navigation and stuff like that. And then I have an error page in case something goes wrong. This will be displayed. Then my success page in the event that the message is sent successfully, it will show that. And then this is kind of the form that actually sends the message. I'm using UIKit, so if you're interested in checking out UIKit, you might actually enjoy it. I'll show you the final product in just a bit. So to get your Africa Stalking API key, let me just leave that, come back here. To get your Africa Stalking API key, all you have to do is log into Africa Stalking account. click go to Sandbox app. So these are all the different services that we have, and then just go to settings, click API key, and then you can generate an API key. Now, I don't want to change my API key right now because the app is already running pretty well. And then for Firebase, the next what you need to do is log into your Firebase console, head to your Cloud Firestore. So if you've never used the Firestore before, it's going to ask you to create a database. Once you create the database, it'll allow you to you can actually manually add in the data yourself. But what we're going to try to do is like add the data from our application. One thing I'm doing is I'm using an auto ID. So I'm not creating the ID myself. It's auto generating on Cloud Firestore, right? For you to get Firestore working properly, you need to go to your project settings, head to your service accounts, and then create a service account. So I've already created mine, and it's right here. So it's just a JSON file that kind of like gives Google all the data it needs to know that you're authorized to actually talk to this database. The reason behind this is mostly for security reasons. All right. So now that we have that out of the way, we'll walk over the code, and then we're actually going to send a message and then see how that turns out, right? All right. So if you haven't interacted with Flask before, you can just Google Flask. It's always the first result, and you can learn a little bit more about how it works. It's a very bare bones kind of server building framework, and it's really, really good. I really enjoy working with it. For all the Pythonists out there, whoa. Anyway, so let me just make this slightly larger, just for the people maybe who may not be able to see properly. So the first thing I've done here is imported Flask. I've brought in the Flask module that actually initializes the whole application. I need the request module as well, and then I need a render template. You can imagine what all of these do. Request just handles all the requests that come into the application and allows me to access different variables within that request. And then render template allows me to render the HTML or Ginger templates that I've actually set up over here. I import Africa Stalking and then all the good Firebase stuff. So to install Firebase, it's just pip install Firebase -admin, and you'll get everything. From Firebase admin, I need credentials and Firestore. So credentials is to authenticate me, and then Firestore is to actually access the Firestore service. Next thing I'm doing here is initializing the app. I'm configuring the port that I want to expose. And then the next thing I'm doing is getting my setting up my Africa Stalking SDK, which I just need my username, which is Sandbox. This is my API key. And then I'm initializing it here. Africa Stalking.initialize, you pass in the username and API key, and things should be good to go. I create an SMS variable here, called the Africa Stalking module, and then the SMS method that will essentially allow us to access the SMS service. You can see it's very similar to Firebase and how it works. That's why I had so much fun kind of working on this. So credentials, I create a credentials variable, essentially a cred called cred, use credentials that I imported up there, .certificate. So this allows me to use the certificate, the JSON certificate I got from the Firestore console. And then Firebase.admin essentially is, so I'm essentially just initializing the app itself and passing the credential in. I have a Firebase, Firebase DB is still fine. So my Firebase DB, which is a Firestore database, and I actually initialize the client itself that's going to handle all my transactions, right? So what I have on my Firestore is a transactions collection, essentially, right? So this collection will store all the different transactions I'm making using the Africa Stalking SDK. So I initialize that connection to the specific collection that I want to talk to. Then I'm creating I create a route. So in this app, it's very simple. I didn't want to like make anything complicated with, Flask. Flask can get very complicated once you're building like big applications, but I just want to keep this very simple. So I have a singular route, which is just whatever URL. So if it's localhost 8000, that's what it's going to be. and then my methods are, it can handle get and post methods. So I can handle multiple methods within the same route. So if the request method is get, then it will just render out the index template, right? And then if the method is post, it's gonna take the data that has been posted from the form that we've created, and then we'll run a couple of things for us here. This is where the meat of the situation is. So in this try catch statement, you create an SMS. In the try section, you create a response variable where now we actually send the SMS. So we'll take a message from the form, and then also take the phone number from the form, and then send a message using the Africa Stalking Service. We'll print out the response, but really what we actually really want to do here, we'll just do this for logging purposes, but essentially what we want to really do here is save that transaction to the database. And to show you how simple both of our APIs are, so for SMS, just do sms.send, and then to save to the database, just transaction ref.add. So just adding specifically to the transactions collection. And then what we're going to do, if this is successful, we're going to render the template, a success template. And then if something went wrong, we're going to print out to the console what happened. Houston, we have a problem. This is what went down. And then we're going to return an error template, right? Just for the user to have visual feedback. Here, I'm just setting up the server itself. I'm just passing a debug, making sure debugging is on so that we can quickly kind of look at anything that went wrong. And then we set the port as well, right? So what you're seeing now is actually my terminal. And what I'm going to do here is make sure everything is running fine by actually starting up the server. And it's python.app.py. Now we can clearly see our port it's on localhost, but port 8000. So that's what we're gonna do. Come here, and it loads up. So what I love about UIKit, it's very minimalistic. It's not nothing fancy going on. All you have here is like airtime documentation. So if you want to go see what you can do with the airtime, API, you can go there. The SDK on GitHub, which has quite a few interesting details. So the first thing we need to do, I want to send a message to myself, and I have something here called a simulator. So 27545 so this mimics your phone. So it's like a virtual little phone that we provide for you, right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back to our app. We're gonna enter the same number we just entered, 727. It's actually right here, and then hey, this is from dev first. And even let's try and sneak in an emoji. Oh, I clicked send. Oh, it's gone. Okay, the message is gone. All right, so you can clearly see we got a little notification here. We got an SMS. And we got a message from Defestar. Now, what would be interesting to see is like, has this message actually been sent and saved on the Firestore on Firestore? So all we have to do is come here, and we can see the third message here has just come in, right? It tells us everything about everything that has happened. So you have your cost, the message ID. So AT generates us a unique ID for every single message sent, and then the phone number, the status of the message, so if it's successful or not, and then this is the status code 101, which just means we did it well. You can think of it like 2 thumbs up. But aside from that, that's a very quick demo on how to build something awesome on top of Africa Stalking in Firestore. We can try send something wrong, right? Like let's try send something like that with the wrong phone number, and then just do anything, right? It will say success. Here it means something must have gone wrong, right? Let's actually check our terminal. Yes, so sent to 0 out of 1. So we didn't capture some of the errors that could have showed up. So it's still giving us like a success message, just because it gave us back a proper response. But we can fix our code a bit later on. But anyway, yeah, this is kind of my demo. This is already live on GitHub, so you can go check it out at any time. Yeah, would love to hear any of the questions that you guys have, and we can see what we can do. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, I'd love to hear any of the questions you guys might have about the service and how we could, what you would like to see maybe. Was there any challenges? Was I going too fast? Just love to know. You can share your questions in the chat section, and then you can see what we could do. Oh yeah, so I remember I mentioned Docker, and you can see, I did have a Docker file, but never really did much with Docker right now. I don't think we had enough time, but yeah, essentially with Docker, all you have to do is submit it to a registry like Google's registry, Heroku, or whoever, and you should be good.
Hi, Anthony.
Hi.
Hi, thank you for your presentation. I just want to ask people in the stage if there is anyone with the questions. You can drop them in the chat.
Hi, friend. Thank you so much.
There is no question. Thank you so much, Anthony, for your time. It was a great presentation.
No worries.
Thank you. Wasalimie sana Kenya. Wasalimie sana Kenya. Ambiwa kuna lockdown.
Tunangoja hii lockdown ishe bana. Tunafaa turudi da.
Mnataka mje huku. Yaani hadi leo mko na lockdown. Utakiwa mje kwetu.
Tunaja. All right.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.